Brian Damas, Senior Advisor to McKinsey, spoke to us about the energy workstream and whether South Africa has achieved a tangible target.
Yeah, we've been working together with our colleagues from the other BRICS countries around specifically identifying certain sectors within the energy space, and particularly the issue of the green economy within that sector, as to how we could work together. Also specific projects. There are some projects that is going to happen within the continent, in the African continent, that actually brings together some of the BRICS countries. So in Mozambique you'll find South Africa, Brazil, China partnering with an African country to bring some energy projects in that regard. If you look at some of the countries, China and India has got great skills around the issues of the green economy, solar technology, wind, and them sharing that. And then if you look at Russia, also India with a great capacity in terms of oil and gas production. But what has been more important for all of us was the fact that we could start networking, identify the opportunities, document those. And I think the next phase of it would be getting to each of the countries and see if we can identify more opportunities for business.
Beyond identification of the opportunities, what are some of the tangible agenda items as a group or as a stream that you've identified, at least that are going to be shaping your agenda from here on?
Yeah, the agenda for the last year was to get organized, to first get to know each other. Secondly, to plot out our energy positions in each of the countries. And then, as I said, to identify the different projects and business opportunities that we would like to focus on. The Brazilians are taking it forward from this month onwards, and really with a very clear work program to, and I think the first part of that is all of us will be visiting each other's countries, and then to bring business-to-business contact on specific projects that are available with within each of the BRIC countries. There are many barriers, the travel amongst these countries are not that easy. Many of these projects would have to be funded, but I think there are great opportunities, and those will be the ones that we would like to explore in the year ahead.
And I'm quite certain as you get together with your counterparts, you're also sharing best practice in terms of how to ensure energy security and the like. Is there any example that stands out for you that you think South Africa could be learning from within the BRICS group?
No, there are many. I mean, the way China has dealt with the green economy, the way China has dealt with their 5-year energy plans, whether it is inclusion of coal, now an aggressive move in terms of the green economy, the way they've rolled out nuclear, for an example. If you look at India with what they have done in not only bringing those things to the market, but also developing technology and developing local industries and skills. And we as a country and as a continent have to make sure that we do this on an equal footing. And that means that we're not only a recipient of the products or the investment, but we also build local industry and local technologies. The Russians has been exceptional in terms of the use of nuclear technology and gas and oil exploration. A lot of that's happening on the African continent. And here where we are, Brazil has been very successful in terms of biotechnology and the use of ethanol. And so if you bring all of these things together and be able to share that, it's quite a powerful thing that we can derive as South Africans and on the broader African continent.
One would assume that whilst you were chief executive of Eskom, that it was easier for you to channel a lot of these learnings from this stream into your role as chief executive. Now that you're no longer there, does that mean there's a disconnect between Eskom and the work that the stream is doing, or have you found a way of continuing that conversation and feeding into South Africa's power mix and power stability?
No, I mean, Eskom is a big part of power in South Africa, or energy for that matter, even on the African continent. And they continue to play an active role. So it's not difficult for me from that perspective. But also within South Africa, you have organized business led by and a stronger relationship between business and government, which is very useful. And all of us is part of that. I'm not leaving the country at all. I mean, I'm still there. And we're all contributing with the different colleagues. And the private sector in South Africa and the private sector on the African continent in the space of energy will play a role. It's starting to happen and is going to happen increasingly more going forward. And I think with that partnership and opportunities with BRIC countries, we'll be able to build out a very strong private power business within the African continent.
And it would be totally amiss of me not to get your opinion on some of the tensions that we have back home right now, in particular around the unions and the work stoppages that are being planned and the strikes at Medupi and the like. What is your view in terms of the way the country has handled its labor laws and how we've worked with unions to ensure that we keep the lights on?
Yeah, it's not just about keeping the lights on. I haven't had an opportunity as Chief Executive of Eskom now to travel around the world, and I have many colleagues in business from around the world. Their single biggest concern about South Africa is our labor situation. And it's about the fact that we need to make sure that workers are treated fairly and have decent work. That's very important. But we also have to make sure that we increase the productivity in terms of our workforce in the country. The quality of it, the skills, the education, and then the productivity thereof. And it's a major concern. And I think that if we don't deal with it as a country with speed, with absolute speed, in a way that addresses the needs of everybody, and then we're going to have a fundamental problem. In these meetings, none of these countries are talking about the concern about their labor. All of them are out there promoting themselves. What are they doing? How are they building their country? And how they're going forward? And we are dealing with where we have work and where we have opportunities, we're not working. And it's affecting our manufacturing industry. And it's affecting our trade with many of BRIC countries. And we have no hope to deal with the problems we have in the country of inequality and poverty unless we make sure that we have a productive workforce.